February 28, 1997. News helicopters rushed to a bank in northern Los Angeles, broadcasting live to millions. What they captured was unreal. Heavily armed men firing with no fear, no mercy. A routine bank heist was exploding into one of the most violent shootouts in American history. 2 bank robbers versus hundreds of LAPD officers. They were outnumbered, but not outgunned. Armed with fully automatic rifles, thousands of high-caliber rounds, and body armor that made police weapons virtually useless. They turned Los Angeles into a war zone. This is the story of how they altered American policing forever. Larry Phillips Jr. came from a long line of criminals. His grandfather robbed trains. His father robbed graves. After dropping out of high school in 1984, Larry trained at Gold's Gym in Pasadena, dreaming of becoming a bodybuilder. But he lacked the genetics to compete and began looking elsewhere. He tried stealing suits but got arrested. After jail, he worked as a real estate agent, running property scams on the side. Emil Mătăsăreanu immigrated from Romania to Los Angeles in 1976. Born with a rare heart condition, he weighed 350 pounds in high school. Relentless bullying made him bitter and withdrawn. In 1989, determined to change, Emil joined Gold's Gym, the same gym where Larry trained. It's unclear if this is where they met, but Larry saw something in Emil. They both loved firearms. Though Larry had more criminal experience, Emil showed growing interest. Together, they began pulling off more ambitious jobs. In 1991, there were 9,388 bank robberies across America. 1 in 4 happened in Los Angeles. That's 2,355 robberies. The next year, it rose to 2,641. 1 robbery every 45 minutes a bank was open. At the time, bank robberies were unsophisticated and rarely violent, averaging only $1,500 to $2,000. But the epidemic forced change. Banks hired armed guards, used exploding die packs and trackers, randomized cash deliveries, and stored money in locked compartments. The government raised minimum sentences to 25 years. It worked. By 1995, LA bank robberies dropped by more than half. But this had an unintended consequence. It didn't stop determined criminals. It just forced them to adapt. With higher stakes, heists became more carefully planned, more ambitious, and far more violent. Criminals aimed for bigger scores, and to avoid 25 years in prison, they used military weapons, hostage situations, and deadly force. Larry and Emil were this new breed of criminal. Between 1990 and 1992, they likely committed small heists. Businesses, convenience stores, cash couriers, nothing major, just gaining experience. Their first confirmed major robbery came in 1993 when they ambushed an armored car, escaping with tens of thousands. 3 months later, their luck ran out. Pulled over for speeding, Emil panicked. Inside the car, officers found 2 rifles, 2 handguns, 3,000 rounds of ammunition, smoke bombs, police, scanners, explosives, fake plates, and full body armor. Both got short jail sentences for conspiracy. Their gear was confiscated, and as convicted felons, they could no longer legally own guns. For most criminals, this would be the end. But Larry and Emil's heists only got bigger. In 1995, they killed a security guard to rob an armored vehicle. By 1996, they perfected the military-style robbery, hitting 2 Bank of America branches with overwhelming firepower, walking away with hundreds of thousands. Now they were ready for their biggest and ultimately most disastrous job. By 1997, Larry and Emil had their next target, the Bank of America on Laurel Canyon Boulevard, the largest in North Hollywood. The location was perfect. Highway access, parking on both sides, multiple escape routes. A busy mall to the west meant potential human shields. A quiet residential neighborhood to the east offered getaway street. They collected over 3,000 rounds and enough weapons to outfit a small army. 3 fully automatic Chinese AK-47s with 100-round drum magazines, a modified M16, an HK-91 battle rifle. Beneath their clothes, Kevlar vests and heavy steel plates, Larry wrapped his groin, arms, and legs in makeshift Kevlar padding. By comparison, the average LAPD officer wore a standard uniform and carried 3 15-round magazines for a 9mm Beretta. Against HK-91 bullets, the Beretta was virtually useless. Their plan was simple: enter the bank, control civilians, force the vault open, stuff cash into bags, and exit before police arrived. 8 minutes in and out. They expected at least $750,000. This wasn't reckless. This was years of careful planning, perfecting every detail, preparing for every scenario. But when the day came, nothing went according to plan. 9:16 a.m. Larry and Emil stepped out of a white Chevrolet in the north parking lot. They'd taken phenobarbital to calm their nerves. As they reached the door, Larry spotted a patrol car. He wasn't sure if they'd been seen, so he continued. Inside, Larry grabbed a man at the ATM, threw him down, and fired into the ceiling. Emil forced the assistant manager toward the vault, but there was a problem. Instead of one vault, there were many individual lockboxes, each needing separate keys. Worse, the cash delivery had been randomized. This would be slower and far less profitable. 3 minutes in, Larry stepped outside. If those cops had seen them, they were in trouble. When he looked south, he saw officers waiting across the street. The LAPD was already here. 8 minutes in, Emil stuffed his bag with $303,305 and 3 die packs. Outside, over 20 officers had taken defensive positions. Larry stepped out, raised his AK-47, and opened fire. A violent gunfight erupted in the middle of a busy road. Officers took cover and shot back. Sometimes they hit Larry directly, but from over 200 feet away, their 9mm rounds were useless against body armor. Meanwhile, his AK pierced through cars and walls. For 4 straight minutes, Larry stood in the open, spraying hundreds of rounds. Then Emil joined him. Together, they wounded multiple officers and civilians. Eventually, they had to run. Larry made a break for the parking lot while Emil provided cover. Moments after Emil left the bank, the die packs in his bag exploded. As he neared the parking lot, a bullet grazed him above the eye. When he told Larry about the die packs, Larry assumed the money was ruined and left the bag behind. In reality, most cash was fine. But this wasn't about money anymore. This was about survival. 6 news helicopters hovered above. For the next 20 minutes, while Emil recovered, Larry fought hundreds of officers alone. He was hit at least 3 more times, including once in his torso, where armor had a gap. Yet, he kept fighting, too high on adrenaline and drugs to notice. When his AK ran out, he grabbed the HK-91 and resumed shooting. A bullet struck his left arm. Frustrated, he fired at a news helicopter but missed. Now unable to hold his rifle properly, his aim was ruined. Their car had 2 flat tires. Emil started driving slowly, shooting through the window while Larry followed on foot. A bullet jammed Larry's HK-91. He switched to his third AK, but it malfunctioned constantly. Emil opened the passenger door for Larry, but he refused and slammed it shut. They reached the residential neighborhood. Larry took cover at an abandoned truck. Emil sped forward, searching for Larry. They never found each other again. Larry was caught between a truck, a fence, and 2 groups of officers with only a faulty AK and a pistol. Shot twice more in the back, 1 bullet hit his subclavian artery. Bleeding severely, panicking, Larry's AK jammed beyond repair. He crawled under the truck. Officers forced him out. He pulled his pistol and fired one-handed. They shot his hand, and he dropped the gun. It was over. Emil drove deeper into the neighborhood, searching for a new vehicle. He tried to carjack a truck, but the driver escaped. When he tried to hotwire it, SWAT arrived. Emil jumped out seconds before bullets tore through the driver's seat. He grabbed his rifle and fired back, but he ran out of ammunition. As he reached for another weapon, a SWAT officer spotted a gap between vehicles. He had an angle on Emil's unprotected legs. He fired, hit, again. Emil was hit multiple times in the legs but kept fighting. He laid down and shot back. Then a bullet struck his arm. He dropped his rifle and raised his hands in surrender. But for crucial moments, officers didn't see the surrender and continued firing. Finally, they ceased fire and cuffed him. Suspecting a third gunman, officers refused to move Emil. When medics arrived, they were turned away. Emil stayed in the middle of the road for 56 minutes. He bled out from leg wounds. The shootout ended at 11:30 p.m. Over 300 officers responded. 12 officers and 8 civilians were wounded. Larry took at least 11 bullets to skin. Emil had 29 leg wounds plus 1 to the forehead. Over 2,000 bullets were fired in 44 minutes. Only 2 casualties, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Mătăsăreanu. When millions watched 2 criminals take on hundreds of officers live on television, one thing became clear. American police were severely under-equipped. Officers had resorted to borrowing weapons from nearby gun stores during the fight. Sweeping reforms followed. Police departments across America began issuing AR-15s and semi-automatic rifles. They improved ammunition, some authorizing armor-piercing rounds. Body armor was upgraded with metal or ceramic plates and ballistic helmets. Though not the sole cause of police militarization, the North Hollywood shootout was a major turning point. Today, American police forces are far better prepared. Let's hope nothing like it happens again. But if it does, they're ready. If you found this story as gripping as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true crime and historical stories. Your support helps me bring you more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.